Bitcoin bull Tom Lee at Fundstrat is detecting a correlation between the two. Tom, tell us exactly what you're seeing.
Hey Sarah, how are you? I
doing
think
well,
emerging
thanks.
markets historically has been viewed as a sector that's kind of rented by a lot of hedge funds. So foreign capital flows really affect those markets. And when emerging markets does well, it's because we're in a risk-on environment, and when it does poorly, obviously it's risk-off. There's a pretty interesting relationship between Bitcoin and emerging market equities, and both really essentially peaked early this year, and they've both been in a downward trend. And so I think until emerging markets begins to turn, I think in some ways that correlation is going to hold and tell us that sort of the risk-on mentality is those buyers aren't buying Bitcoin.
I get what you're saying as far as risk appetite, Tom, but it's a little counterintuitive, right? Because a lot of the declines in emerging market stocks have coincided with declines in emerging market currencies. And you would think that when folks in Turkey or South Africa see the value of their currency fall so dramatically, they would load up on Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's very true, especially if a country implements currency controls or capital controls. But the vast majority of trading isn't necessarily happening in those EMs that are really suffering. It's in countries like Japan, Korea, China, or parts of China, and strong dollar, I think, has actually been a headwind for crypto in the sense that if you want to own a risk-free asset or if you're doing risk off, you're going to be buying dollars. So I don't know. And I think there's a wealth effect as well, which is as emerging market stocks have fallen, there's less capital available to actually buy cryptocurrencies.